Why did the chicken cross the subway tracks? To get himself some free tacos.
A 1, 2, 3, 4.
We will continue our review of the very odd news in the world. Another odd American news story. A team of wranglers, including one on horseback, chased down and captured a wayward steer named Lester across several lanes of a Detroit area freeway. State police in-car video shows the tail end of Sunday's afternoon's chase on northbound Interstate 75 in Holly, about 57 miles northwest of Detroit. A rider on horseback and 3 people in 2 ATVs can be seen chasing Lester in and around fields and woods along the east side of the freeway as the state police car follows slowly behind on the shoulder. At one point, Lester races from near a clump of trees toward the freeway lanes and is quickly cut off by one of the ATVs before running behind the vehicle and into traffic. 3 vehicles pass the steer as it runs into the northbound lanes. The rider on horseback catches up and lassos Lester, which then runs into the median and hops a guardrail onto the freeway's southbound shoulder before it is finally stopped. Upon taking the steer into custody, the steer was heard to say, "Wilbur." Well, at least his name wasn't Ed, right? This one took place in North Dakota. Man indicted in theft of Wizard of Oz ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland. A man has been indicted by a grand jury on charges of stealing a pair of ruby red slippers worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz, federal prosecutors in North Dakota say. The shoes were stolen in 2005 and recovered in a 2018 FBI sting operation, but no arrests were made at that time. Terry Martin was indicted on Tuesday with 1 count of theft of a major artwork, prosecutors announced Wednesday. The indictment did not provide any further information about Martin, and online records do not list an attorney for him. So, there's no place like jail, is there? This is a little bit of a trademark conflict that is odd. Have you heard this about Taco Tuesday? LeBron James actually stuck his nose in this one. He tried to get the term Taco Tuesday trademarked. A lot of T's there. And they said, LeBron, it already is. And so, of course, LeBron being LeBron, he keeps tweeting about it, you know. Anyhow, so apparently this trademark battle has been going on between these 2 fast food competitors. So the story goes, declaring a mission to liberate Taco Tuesday for all, Taco Bell is asking U.S. regulators to force Wyoming-based Taco John's to abandon its long-standing claim to the trademark. Okay. So, Taco John's apparently landed this trademark of Taco Tuesday at some point. I'm not sure how far back that goes, but it was a while ago. And of course, other businesses and, you know, the NBA and whatever just ignore that fact. And so they have these promotional things on Tuesdays called Taco Tuesday. And so I guess Taco Bell is saying that there's too many businesses referring to Taco Tuesday for Taco John's to be able to have exclusive rights to the phrase. Their argument is that it should be open for everyone. Yeah, Taco Bell wants to make some money, or they don't want to pay Taco John's money. You know, if they have the trademark, they have the trademark, right? Let's see what else here. So apparently there's something in trademark law where if it's if a word or a phrase that's trademarked has become so widely used for similar products, in this case sales promotions, they're no longer associated with the original trademark holder. Okay. So they're basically saying you can't trademark something that's generic. But hey, I think Taco John's got in there first. I don't know. I tend to come down on the side of Taco John's. You know, I'm sure it's a little tiny business, and the big corporations and LeBron are trying to put a foot on their throat. So yeah, you know, I don't know a lot about this case, but I'm going to side with Taco John's. Now, it's funny that this business was called Taco John's because that is a nickname that I gave to one of my friends years ago. His name was John, and I started calling him Taco John because we were in an elevator in this big hotel in Chicago on the morning after a very rough night, if you know what I mean. And it was a crowded elevator. It seemed like every floor businessmen and women were getting on, and this elevator was packed with suits and skirts, right? Except for me and my friend John, who were dressed in jeans and t-shirts and sunglasses because, you know. And after a while, you almost couldn't even move in the elevator. And then my buddy John, out of nowhere, says, Castor, those tacos we ate are going right through me. The looks on those corporate stiffs' faces were priceless. Next floor, let me out, next floor. Of course, John was bluffing, but it's just a great line. And hence he became Taco John. And so he owns the trademark to Taco Tuesdays. So take that, LeBron. Or better yet, smell that. This one comes to us from Mexico City, Mexico, Ciudad de Mexico. Chicken loose on subway tracks halts service in Mexico City. Why did the chicken cross the subway tracks in Mexico City? To get him some free tacos on Taco Tuesday. I remember hearing about this. Colorado man tries to trade places with dog to avoid DUI arrest. Gotta love it. A driver, this is Springfield, Colorado, another town in which I have no idea where it's at. A driver who was pulled over for speeding tried to switch places with his dog to avoid arrest for a DUI, police in Colorado said. An officer watched him maneuvering inside the car before he got out on the passenger side on Saturday night in Springfield, a town of about 1,300 people on the state's eastern plains, police said in a Facebook post Sunday. The man said he was not behind the wheel and clearly showed signs of being drunk, police said. He ran from the officer when asked how much he had had to drink and was caught within about 20 yards and taken down to the slammer. The dog, meanwhile, simply said, "Ruh-roh, Raggy." And this one comes to us from Key Largo, Florida. A Florida man living underwater won't resurface even after breaking the record. Okay, let's unpack this. So a university professor broke the record for the longest time living underwater without depressurization at a Florida Keys lodge for scuba divers. Joseph DeTuri's 74th day residing in Jules Undersea Lodge, situated at the bottom of a 30-foot deep lagoon in Key Largo, wasn't much different than his previous days there since he submerged on March 1st. DeTuri, who also goes by the moniker Dr. Deep Sea, ate a protein-heavy meal of eggs and salmon prepared using a microwave, exercised with resistance bands, did his daily push-ups, and took an hour-long nap. Unlike a submarine, the lodge does not use technology to adjust for the increased underwater pressure. The previous record of 73 days, 2 hours and 34 minutes, was set by two Tennessee professors at the same location 10 years ago. But DeTuri isn't just settling for the record and resurfacing. He plans to stay at the lodge until June 9th, when he reaches 100 days, and he may even stay longer. So, what we have here is a real-life SpongeBob, or Sponge Joseph, if you will. So, a Florida man, imagine that. Now, the U.S. is really on a roll here. This one comes to us from Enid, Oklahoma. Oklahoma police rushed to respond to cries for help from a goat. The lead says, "Sometimes a wrong call can really get your goat." Oh, these guys are just so clever. Police in Enid, Oklahoma, at first walked slowly and cautiously through the grassy wooded area of a farm, seeking the source of faint cries for help in the distance. "That's a person," one of the officers said to the other on a video that has been widely shared from a Facebook post by the police department in the city of about 70 miles northwest of Oklahoma City. The distressing noise that sounded like human cries for help escalated as officers David Sneed and Neil Story began running to help who they thought was perhaps a person trapped under farm equipment. Instead, it was a goat. So they must have heard this, "Meh, help me, help me, help me." Well, I don't know. In Oklahoma, they have kind of a funny accent, right? But they like them some Baker Mayfield there. That's right. That's a whole other thing, by the way. The NFL needs to put a franchise in Oklahoma City so those folks can start doing something other than tailgating wherever Baker Mayfield is playing. Jesus. I remember this one. The two fishermen caught cheating at an Ohio tournament have been sentenced to 10-day jail terms and the forfeit of their $100,000 boat. I don't know, did you hear about this? These two guys stuffed fish that they caught with lead weights and fish fillets in an attempt to win this tournament of, where the prize was thousands of dollars. In fact, they did win these tournaments, but they were cheating. And they got nailed for this. And, that's fraud, What can you say? The allegations surfaced in September in the Lake Erie Walleye Trail Tournament. A crowd of people gathered in Cleveland and watched as the freshwater fish were cut open and all these weights and walleye fillets were stuffed inside. So these guys, I don't think will be doing any fishing tournaments in the near future. Oh, I've been waiting for a tawdry odd story and leave it to the folks in Berlin, Germany to deliver. Man rescued from woods after sex game goes awry. So, German police say a 51-year-old man who was left tied up in the woods when a sex game went awry had a lucky escape after a cyclist and a hunter heard his screams for help. Police said the man was discovered fully dressed, but firmly bound with ropes and a pantyhose over his head atop a deer hunting platform near the town of Boexberg late Wednesday. In a statement Friday, police said the man appeared to have been tied up by a woman he met online. After she had done so, the woman received a phone call and fled the woods suddenly, leaving the man behind in a helpless state. The 51-year-old told officers that he had a box cutter on him for such situations, but seemed to have underestimated the woman's bondage skills because he was unable to reach the knife, police said. The man was unharmed and refused to provide information about the woman's identity. Police have opened an investigation of her on suspicion of failure to render assistance and possible deprivation of liberty. So, I wonder what was so urgent with that phone call that she left the guy there. Or maybe that's her thing, right? Maybe that's her thing. She meets guys online, she gets them in these situations where they're helpless, and she leaves them there. I don't know. All right. Here's a story from New Jersey. Old Bridge, New Jersey, to be precise. Hundreds of pounds of pasta dumped near a New Jersey stream. Authorities in a central New Jersey town say they are no longer noodling over a mystery of how hundreds of pounds of pasta were dumped near a stream. Old Bridge Mayor Owen Henry said Friday that the pasta, which included spaghetti and macaroni, was cleaned up mysteriously last week before public works crews had a chance to go there and clean up the mess. And the Old Bridge mayor offered a $10,000 reward for the citizen who had cleaned up the pasta, as a token of appreciation. And after a couple of days, former Governor Christie stepped forward to claim the prize. Christie's running for president. It was just a week or so ago, we talked about Christie, and I thought he was out of politics forever, but no, he's back. Now that he's cleaned up the pasta mess there in Old Bridge, New Jersey. Wheels in motion for the next Philly naked bike ride in August. Eager for another nude bike ride through the city of brotherly love? Keep your shirt on for now. The next Philly naked bike ride is coming in August. Organizers of the annual jaunt to promote fuel conservation and positive body image said Wednesday they are holding the August 26th starting location and route under wraps and will disclose them the day before. Previous rides have zipped past sites including Independence Hall, the U.S. Mint, the Liberty Bell, and the Philadelphia Museum of Art, where Sylvester Stallone sprinted up the steps in Rocky. Naked. Actually, Stallone did sprint up those steps naked, but that was before Rocky, because he did porn flicks before that. Okay. And then finally, this story comes from Minneapolis. State senator makes shirtless vote during Zoom meeting. A Minnesota state senator became a reluctant star on social media after he voted shirtless while lying in bed during what should have been a routine legislative commission meeting. In a video streamed on YouTube, a Republican Senator, Calvin Barr of East Bethel, can briefly be seen voting, with a Schoolhouse Rock "I'm Just a Bill" character on the wall behind him, during a Zoom call on Monday with the Legislative Audit Commission. After voting, Barr quickly turned the camera off, leaving a black screen showing just his name. A GOP Senate spokeswoman said Barr, a truck driver, worked until 4:45 a.m. and then went to bed before Monday's meeting. She said he would not comment on the vote or the video, the Minneapolis Star-Tribune reported. The video prompted several memes and social commentary before comments were turned off. Okay, well, I'll see you one shirtless state senator voting and raise you one CNN commentator masturbating. Well, kids, that is all. Those were a lot of odd stories. 2 episodes worth, pretty much. So we are convening for the summer now. That is the end of the first year of A Very Odd Caster. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, please write to veryoddcaster@gmail.com. That's veryoddcaster@gmail.com. We're going to spend the summer tweaking this format, reviewing, analyzing, and making a few changes. And we look forward to hopefully reconvening in September. Have a great summer, folks. Cheers.